Well, today I'd like to welcome Angela Hultberg, who is the Head of Sustainable Mobility at the Ikea Retail Ingka Group. Welcome, Angela.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, we're very excited to have you. So why don't we start out with a little bit about yourself, how you got into your role, and what your role and what IKEA does around sustainable mobility.
Right. Well, my role as head of sustainable mobility is basically to make sure that everything that moves within IKEA retail moves in a sustainable way. So that's good in our last mile part, but that's also our co-workers. We have 170,000 co-workers getting to work every day. That comes with some emissions. And most importantly, our customers. Our customers going to and from IKEA stores stands for a significant share of our total emissions. So my job is to help make all of that movement more sustainable. And how did I end up here? Good question. Not quite sure, actually. I was in what we call customer fulfillment before. So the last mile warehousing fulfillment part of IKEA retail. And yeah, I went on and on and on about electric deliveries. And I guess at some point they figured, let's just give her the whole scope. And here we are.
Great. So it sounds like a really exciting job and role and relatively new in the scheme of things. But it's not just one of these roles where you sit back and you've got a great title and you don't need to do anything. You have one very specific goal over the next 4 to 5 years. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I don't just sit and roll my thumbs all day. That would also be very boring. So I'm quite happy that it is a job that requires some work at least. Yeah, we have one very specific target to go fully electric, 100% electric or other zero emission home deliveries by 2025. So that's only 5 years away to transform the entire fleet used for our home deliveries. And we don't own that fleet, I should note. So working with our transport service providers. So that's our main target, but we also had the goal to take 5 cities and transform them even faster. So be 100% electric in Shanghai, Paris, Amsterdam, New York, and Los Angeles by 2020. And that's very soon. That's now, basically, just a few months off from deadline. So it's yeah, we're working quite hard at the moment.
So some big challenges, maybe for those who aren't sort of in the know in terms of how the last mile component works. So as you said, you don't own the fleet.
No,
but, no. Obviously, you influence the type of fleet that's used. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about, without sharing any secrets, what type of ideas there are around the fleets. Like, is it all vans? I don't know.
I mean, for our type of goods, of course, we have bulky goods, right? A lot of it. And you can't really transport a kitchen in any vehicle. You need a certain size to do that, of course. But we also have smaller packages, of course. We do sell a lot of smaller items. So I'd say we range all the way from a parcel, a small parcel, all the way up to delivering a full kitchen. So of course, we're going to need a variety of vehicles to do that. Probably the bulk of it is somewhere in the range of 3.5 and up, of course, but and we don't use like the really small ones. Mm-hmm. But it's a range of things. But that's also how we view this going for sustainable deliveries. It's not going to be like a one vehicle or one solution that solves everything. It's going to be a mix of things. So we're going to look at electric vans, yes, but of course electric trucks, both smaller trucks, but also heavy trucks. And we're seeing now some great movement in that segment, but then also to integrate cargo bikes into the logistics chain, and even things like electric barge, which we have been trialing in Paris to bring things up waterway, because electrification is great, but it doesn't solve every problem in the city. It doesn't solve congestion, does it? So if we can also find ways to reduce the number of actual vehicles on the roads, then that's also a really good thing.
Yeah. So you've given us actually a bit of a sense of how wide ranging the challenge is, right? It's not simply a matter of just getting some electric vans and you're done. So tell us a little bit more, if you can, about what the challenges are, what the challenge looks like.
Well, I mean, one challenge has been to find the right vehicles. As we're saying, it's it's not as easy as just ripping out combustion engines and putting in electric powertrains instead. If it was that easy, we'd be done by now, to be honest. And obviously, we're nowhere near done. So I think the challenge is to find the right vehicles and have them perform the right way. For us, for instance, we had a problem in Europe to find vehicles that were suited for our operations, so much so that we actually went to the OEMs and co-created new vehicles that we can use in our operations. And again, we don't actually own a fleet, so it's not going to be Ikea specifically ordering these vehicles. It's for our service providers and for anyone else in the industry who wants them. If it works for Ikea, chances are they'll work for other companies as well. And we really hope that what we've created together with Renault, with MAN, will really make a difference in the industry. So that has been one challenge that we're sort of just trying to tackle head on, and just, roll up our sleeves and get the work done. But we face the same challenges as everyone who wants to go electric, I would say. It's the vehicles, yes. It's the cost of the vehicles, obviously, because they come at a premium. It can be double, it can be triple the price. And you have to make sure you sort of see a positive business case somewhere. And is that within 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And how do we plan for that? It's also charging infrastructure. Of course, everyone goes on and on about charging infrastructure, but for a good reason. It's not there. And then question is, who builds it? And at the moment, should I, a home furnishing retailer, build charging infrastructure for commercial vehicles? I am. But who's my partner there and who can help there? So that's also something which comes also with a Pandora's box of other things that we learned along the way. Grid capacity, for instance, or energy capacity in our buildings. We have buildings that are quite old. And when you start putting up chargers first for customers, and then you want chargers for commercial vehicles, maybe you want some air fryers in the kitchen, I don't know. But all in all, our buildings can't really handle that. So we have to figure that out as well. So I'd say, vehicles, charging infrastructure, and costs, it's the same as for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it is a big challenge. And when you think about it's sort of a multi-dimensional challenges, all the different components that you have to bring together. And I'll pop in a teaser for Trōv in the sense that we're involved in these types of things from the insurance perspective, because that landscape has changed now in terms of the risk of vehicles, etc. So taking that notion, right, of a sort of a multifaceted problem, and you need multiple stakeholders involved in the mix to try and move the emission needles and bring these solutions together. So you're in a great position to offer an opinion on where all of this is going, right? We like to wrap up these sessions with this sort of a future gazing question. So I'm going to put you on a spot a little bit, in whatever time frame you see, like, are we going to move the needle here? Is this going to work? How long is it going to take?
Yes, it's absolutely going to work. It is already working, I'd say. This is not a futuristic thing. This is not something that will happen. It's something that is happening. I mean, we have already deployed electric vehicles for last mile in 19 countries. We're already at 50% of deliveries being made on EVs in China. Shanghai, we turned fully electric in less than a year. And now, hopefully then before end of this year, Paris will be 100% electric. Amsterdam will be 100% electric. New York as well. Los Angeles, probably not, to be honest. So that's a scoop for you. But yeah, we're facing some challenges with the charging specifically, actually. That might take a bit longer. But what I'm saying is this is already happening across all our markets. We've deployed in Russia, in India, Japan, Netherlands, Germany. It's happening all across the world. So I think we need to sort of a little bit get out of this, will it happen? Will it work? What will it take? And just realize that this is ongoing, this is happening. Ikea is not the only one working to electrify, working for a more sustainable fleet. So we have lots of different companies really now understanding this and starting to take measures. And I think what's so important right now is we've been discussing the why for a bit. You know, why do we need to do this? Yes, because of climate change, because of air pollution, because of congestion, because of many things. And I think now finally I'm seeing that we're sort of leaving the why behind, because yes, fossil fuel combustion engines, bad. Let's not do that anymore. But now we need to get into the how. How do we do this? And this is where collaboration really comes in and play a key, because we all have roles to play. I cannot do this alone. I can sit, in Malmö, Sweden, and go on and on about electric last mile until I'm blue in the face. Nothing's going to happen unless I have transport service providers who wants to go on that journey with me, unless there are OEMs out there who actually produce these vehicles, unless policymakers send a very clear signal to the industry saying that this is the direction, plan your business accordingly. So I think we all have roles to play, and it is happening now. And of course, I mean, as we see in specifically Europe, where cities are announcing more and more that they will close city borders for combustion engines and for fossil fuel. And we see several cities having target dates in the near future, just 5 years away, being fossil-free city centers. Now, as a business, we need to make sure we can access our customers' front doors. If we cannot get to the customer, we don't have a service offer. We don't have deliveries. If we don't have deliveries, we don't have online sales. How do we intend then to stay in business for another 75 years? So I think now is the time to really use the solutions we have on the market today, and then find the right partners to work together to make it better, to customize them, and then share that knowledge with everyone else. Like I said, with the Renault and MAN trucks, we don't want to develop anything that is only for us and it's our secret and it's how that's not what we're here to do. If we can change IKEA operations, that is great. That has some impact. But if we can be part of changing the entire industry, then that's obviously much, much better. But I think the main component is if we can start changing people's minds, the many people, the customers and consumers and the families and the communities, and have them see the many, many benefits of sustainable transportation, that's when we actually start, and this is going to sound dramatic, but I'm going to say it, that's when we start changing the world. So from IKEA to the industry to the many people, that's where change really happens.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's really great here just to echo back to hear you say that it's working already, which is an amazing thing. So thank you, and thanks IKEA for the hard work. Thank you especially for spending the time with us today. It's been a fascinating conversation. So
thank you for having me.
Good luck in the future.
Thank you.